Welcome, my seekers, to this North Node of the Moon conversation. I am sitting outside. There's wind, there's a sunset, there's a little cat sitting here behind me, keeping me company. He just likes to listen to me talk. He's so cute. And so this is going to be a bit of an audio-visual adventure, but I don't care because I love to do these videos in the moment as they come to me and as it feels right. And it's so fitting because, of course, this came over me right as the North Node of the Moon is really actually entering Cancer right now as I'm filming this. And so I'm feeling this energy, and quite honestly, I'm feeling so much lighter already because the North Node of the Moon has been in Leo the last year and a half. And when that transit started, I was pretty convinced that that was going to be an amazing thing, to have all that powerful energy directing the collective toward that Leo way. But I've discovered that in having the North Node focused on your sun sign energy or on a dominant energy in your chart, you're given a big homework assignment to really refine how you're treating yourself, how you're valuing yourself, and how you're moving through life. And I do feel like I just finished a long homework assignment with that. And as you can tell, here comes the audio-visual excitement. We're starting right now. Okay, Seekers, we are really sitting down to talk about this North Node of the Moon. In Cancer, it has been the journey to get here. It has been a journey not only to get through the Leo North Node transit, but also to sit down and talk about it. I think I just needed to let this message percolate through my system, through my being for another day before I could really talk about it. So, we are finally here. I am just starting to feel out this energy. We're only a day into it as of this filming. So this transit with the North Node of the Moon in Cancer and the South Node of the Moon in Capricorn is going to be with us until May 5th, 2020. So we have a good year and a half of this transit. And this is one of those subtler ones that we feel on like a very quiet level and yet is quite profound and very poetic. So let's talk about what the North and the South nodes even are. We are all born, with the moon nodes in two signs. For me, I have a Taurus North node and a Scorpio South node. The North and the South nodes are always the oppositional signs. The North Node of the Moon is about where we are going. So we take the high vibrational qualities of the energy that the node of the moon is in, and we are trying to go toward that. So on the collective level, we are all focusing in on going towards Cancerian energy and what that entails. Now we'll be talking about that today because that's what the transit is going to be. On the other side, on the flip side, the South Node of the Moon is where we are moving away from, where there are shadow aspects or lower functioning aspects of a certain type of energy or way of moving through the world that doesn't serve us. So on the individual level, what that means is when you have a North Node that you carry with you your whole life, and you are learning new skill sets. Those new skill sets are encapsulated in the North Node energy of your chart. And the South Node is often ways of going through the world, ways of getting what you want, ways of moving through the world, or dealing with conflict, contrast, abundance, all of that you're comfortable with, but not always where you are going to grow or get the most out of it, right? So with that in mind, on the collective level, whenever we have one of these new transits, we are all learning a little bit of a lesson. Now, of course, if you happen to be a Cancer or have Cancer dominant energy, or a Capricorn with Capricorn dominant energy, you'll be feeling this transit a little bit more personally. And if you have, North Node in Cancer in your chart, this will be a time where you're checking in with those life lessons a little bit more poignantly, a little bit more on the nose. So for all of you out there that have any of those things going on, you may be noticing that this transit's a little bit more upfront with you about what you are experiencing. Now for me, I'm a Leo, and we just had the Leo North Node and the Aquarius South Node transit for the last year and a half. And I have to say I'm kind of excited that we're moving on and away from that polarity. I think probably all the Leos and Aquarians out there, hey guys, are going to agree with me on that there was a pressure and an intensity with that when you are the signs involved, that you kind of feel it. You feel that energy with you. So before I get into specifically this Cancer North Node energy and the Capricorn South Node energy, because I have a pretty amazing note and I'm really excited about it, and it's something that I think we can all just start applying like today, and it's just a really exciting, great way to move through the world. I just want to quickly, briefly touch on what we've just experienced, because I think it's important for us as we're shifting here, and as we have Jupiter moving into Sagittarius, and as we have all this energy shifting around, that we are cognizant of what we've just incorporated. So, the Leo North Node was really about learning how to be vulnerable, childlike, and playful, and creative, and effervescent, and heart-based in the way we move through the world. And because of the Leo North Node energy, we weren't going toward the haughty aspects of Leo, because the Leo Aquarius axis is one of the most quintessential ones. It's about the royalty and the people. It's about the leaders and the people on the ground. It's about the collective and the individual. And this axis, we need both. We need our individual leadership abilities. We need to learn to take responsibility for ourselves. We need to learn to pioneer and create from ourselves. But we also need to learn how to work with others and work within our context, right? Now, with the Leo North Node, we were being asked to connect in with our childlike playfulness. We were being asked to tap into leadership and self-accountability and self-worth and self-empowerment. That's a pretty hard-hitting lesson, because we can't blame it on anybody else. We can't blame it on external circumstances. And we can't avoid our own work that we need to do, even if we want to do work for the collective, right? The other thing that we were learning with the South Node in Aquarius was that detaching from problems and just looking at them from that detached perspective isn't always going to give us what we need, and that we do need to involve our hearts in how we connect to others, right? So those were the big encapsulating umbrella lessons that we had for that transit. Now we're going to level this up another notch here with the Cancer North Node, Capricorn South Node conversation. And I hope I just got goosebumps. I hope you guys are ready for what this transit is going to ask us all to do. You know, Cancer is ruled by the moon. Cancer is, I like to call Cancers, and a lot of people call Cancers, moon children. It is the sign of motherhood, mother moon, feminine energy, receptive energy, quiet, internal, secretive energy, but also nurturing energy, healing energy, intuitive energy, very wise, maternal energy. I'm getting so many goosebumps. So with the North Node of the moon in this sign, there is a symbiotic flow. It gets to the crux, to the root of this archetype, and it gets to the very heart of this energy. Now, when I first started thinking about this, I was thinking about how we need to have our own mother within us. We need to have that internal compass point. And that is what the mother energy gives us. The mother energy gives us that knowing that we are okay and we are whole no matter what the world throws at us, right? And I think that is a really important thing to remember to foster. If you do not have that mothering tendency toward yourself, within yourself, that has been cultivated and you have taken the time to cultivate, when things get thrown at you and when you are asked to forge forward in life, in challenge, in contrast and excitement, you will find that you are very easily thrown off balance. You are very easily spooked and frightened. So, number one, with this energy, it is helping to facilitate us strengthening our internal maternal, mothering, self-mothering energy. That's just awesome. And I think we can all benefit from that. We need the divine maternal right now. It is an energy that is getting stronger and stronger, and I think we will be finding that it is finding its voice again in our society. So there's that. And with the North Node being there, we as a collective will be experiencing this. As a humanity in a group setting, we will be experiencing that energy. Now, the note that really came up for this transit was this. We have to seek out sharing and vulnerability. We have to seek out the spaces that allow us to share our internal hidden side. We have to seek out help. We have to seek out others that we love, that we want in our life. Because here's the thing. With the South Node of the Moon in Capricorn, what are we moving away from? We are moving away from this idea of the self-made being. The shadow side of Capricorn, Capricorn is an amazing energy, and I love you Capricorns, and believe me, I'm not bashing on your energy at all, but this is the archetypal energy that we're really talking about here. So, Capricorn energy is all about pushing forward, success, making things happen, taking action, creating. You know, it's associated with our career and our reputation in the world and how we look and how we push forward and make things happen. So the shadow side of Capricorn is that it can be this self-isolating energy where you do things on your own. You have to learn how to have that independence, right? You have to learn how to do things on your own. You have to be self-starting. If you want anything to happen in this world, you have to decide that you're going to go make it happen. And Capricorn energy has that. It's that decision that you're going to act, that you are going to make. But the shadow side is this idea that you're doing it alone. And our social media world and the world that we live in that has facilitated us being more independent in many ways, and it has also connected us, don't get me wrong, but it has facilitated the idea of the self-made person, the person that doesn't need to ask for help. And it's put a lot of pressure on everybody, despite the fact that nobody really wants to live that way. It's put a lot of pressure on people to look and act like that. Like they're doing great, everything looks great, everything looks good on the surface, and you don't have to reach out anymore. Well, this is where the North Node of the Moon is going to come in here to heal some of those rifts and to heal some of that isolating energy that does come from this idea of reputation and external display, external action. Now, these are cardinal energies. Both Cancer and Capricorn are cardinal energies. These are starting, initiating energies. These are driven energies. These are passionate energies. These are energies that will make things happen. And if you've spent any time around any Cancers or Capricorns, you will find that things are moving and shaking and shifting very efficiently in such an amazing way. It's really great energy. So to have the North Node of the Moon moving away from fixed sign energy where we were looking much more at what we sustain over a long period of time into energy that's about what we want to initiate, this is an amazing time for initiation, for forging into new territory, for making new things happen. But the key here, the way you want to leverage this Node of the Moon placement is you have to ask. You have to ask for what you want. You have to seek out heart-centered, secret-centered connection with others. You can't wait for it to come and find you hidden away in your room. You can't wait for it to come and find you when you're just doing your typical routine. You have to seek out support. You have to seek out co-creators. You have to seek out and ask for what you want. And there is a tenderness to this because, like I was saying, Cancer energy is also deeply tied to our internal spaces, to our home spaces, to our secret side, to the side that we keep the closest to ourselves, the side of us that is about our internal family and the people we've really let in, not just the external world or what anybody thinks outside of your safe space. So what's interesting is when you have this self-starting initiating energy being lit up by the North Node, we're being asked to revamp how we do that safe space and how we are inviting in. I'm all about the feminine receptive, which, moon energy is about the divine feminine. It is about the divine receptivity, right? It is beautiful energy. But mothering energy is also about seeking. It is also about producing. It is also about giving birth. And that is not a passive act. It is an engaged act. It is an act that asks us to step forward, step up, step out, and rather than hide and run away from where we want the most facilitation, we want the most connection, we want the most love, we're being asked to go right toward the scariest point in our journey there. One thing I want to talk about before we close out is relationship in general. We come here to relate on every level. Family, friends, lovers. We come here to relate. And that's an amazing thing. We need relationships to learn, to grow, to mirror. And they're a source of joy, excitement, experimentation. They do so many things for us. Obviously, it's a huge, huge part of how we live in this world. But we also rely on relationship to fill us. And sometimes we get into passive mode with relationship, right? We get into the passive idea that if this right person comes through, we can just let them be in our lives and then we don't actually have to actively facilitate what we want in life. We don't have to facilitate other friendships. We don't have to facilitate other relationships, other projects. And a lot of times people get focused on one person as kind of the thing that fills everything in for you. It's very easy. I think almost everybody can relate to that being true for them, at least at one point in their story. But with this Cancer energy here, with this North Node energy here, this is one thing I want you to just take in, think about, maybe a strategy for you as you move through this transit for the next year and a half. When you feel, if you happen to be somebody who's feeling that there's a specific person that you want them to fill in that grid for you, you want them to fill in all the energy for you, whenever you're getting that hunger for that specific connection, and this can also be just about you, maybe you want a certain type of relationship and it's not here and you're feeling impatient about it, here is the exercise I want you to do and think about and notice, and I think this can apply on so many parts of our lives, so this is really for everybody. When you're feeling that hunger, when you're feeling that like, I just want that text, I just want that phone call, I just want that opportunity. Think about what that is, that hunger is. What is really pinging at you there? What hunger is really pinging at you there? Is it that you're actually just frustrated that you're living where you don't want to live? Is it actually that you really crave being a much more creative person? Is it actually that you want to shift jobs or that you want to travel the world and you're feeling so frustrated with your self-value within that deep personal evolution that you're starting to put it into this external person, this external circumstance, rather than seeking out the phone calls, the emails, the conversations that would facilitate you in a larger community sense in shifting and shaping your life. Because it's not just about one person coming in and filling it all in. It is about finding many co-creators, many pathways via which we can build and grow. Once again, cardinal energy is about initiation. And when I look at this world and I see what we have all around us here, what I think about is how there are millions of paths just pointing every direction all around you. If you just imagine yourself standing there at the center, just standing there, and you really look around you, this absolutely brilliant machine around us is concocting all of these pathways at all times. And your journey here is to find the one that connects with your most deeply held, beloved beliefs and to advocate for yourself on that path and to reach out to the people that connect with it the most deeply. And not only that, I can't help but think about the 4 agreements, and one of those agreements, and if you haven't checked that book out, fantastic book, one of those ones you can reach back to and just like read in a couple of days and just feel really realigned again. But being impeccable with your word, right? This is a transit where this is a chance for you to not only advocate for yourself, to ask others to help you, to ask others to co-create with you, to ask for what you want, but to be very impeccable with what it is that you are asking for. Of course, these are all skills we can use at all times, but this is where we are highlighting. We don't need to always expect ourselves to be these self-sufficient machines that are isolated and that have to do everything on their own and that have to struggle and hide the progress. You know, there is a process for everything that is created, and it is just as beautiful to share in that process as it is to share in the completed project. And you know, if you do have a lot of Capricorn energy in your chart, this is also a chance for you to experiment with different ways of moving through the world. And I think you will be noticing, if you do have Capricorn energy, that the people that are coming across your path and the things that are coming into your experience do ask you to do things a little bit differently. And it could be kind of mystifying. Like, why do these people come in and ask me to do things differently over and over and over again? So word to the wise there. Also, I want to say, when the North Node is in your sign, or you have dominant Cancer energy, you are being asked to connect with yourself at a much deeper level and to commit to yourself at a much deeper level. I am speaking from experience, having just had the Leo North Node transit. It's highlighting you, and that is important. But you know, this idea of openness and connection is so strong here. We need this energy so much with the current state of the world. We need this interconnectedness. And if we each step up and show up and advocate and ask and seek out help, guidance, co-creation, co-creators, pathways that serve us, I swear this next year and a half could be some of the most magical energy you have. But you know, the thing is, you can let this transit pass and nothing will change if you don't utilize the energy that is there. So, you know, it's up to you. This North Node is not going to make this all happen. The North Node isn't going to stop it from happening. The North Node is always a facilitator. The North Node is always trying to get you to move and develop new skills. And the great thing about this transit, and what I love about the symbolism of the North and the South Nodes, is that it's a year and a half, so we move through all 12 signs, you know, in a reasonable span of time. So you get a chance to strengthen your connection with each of these energies over the course of, you know, 12, 18 years, I guess. And that's an amazing thing because that's what you want. You want to be able to connect with each of these energies. So I'm just going to leave it there. I'm not even going to pull cards. I'm not going to do anything else because I just think this is such an intuitive placement and there is so much potential for good and for creativity here. And to deprogram ourselves from this idea that we have to be top performers that look really slick and perfect on the surface, because man, It's so boring. It's so boring, and nobody really relates to that shit. Nobody really relates because nobody's doing that, because that's not what this is about. There is no such thing as perfection, and what it is about is experimentation. Yeah, that's what it's about. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave it at that. You'll see me for more moon magics. You'll see me for more readings in December. Have a field day with this transit. It's a cool one. It's a chill one. You know, don't overthink it too much. It's just a little tool set. So, I love you guys.